should. That has me all set up. There we go. All right, we got the video feed, everything going. Everything's working now. I hope so. So, as they said, there were small difficulties. The feed, one feed, we couldn't get it shut down. So, all right. Like I said, it's a little jumbled up, but all right. Let's try to get on the show. Oh, what do I have here? Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. Mm-hmm. There we go.
And what the fuck? It is time. Time for a Reaver rant.
Yep, electronics don't like me today. So, here we go. Again, the left has decided to protest, which they have the right to protest, but they don't have a right to try to stop Trump from speaking. First, I find it funny that Cruz supporters who scream they are constitutionalists sitting in there and laughing and cheering for the BLM and MoveOn.org attempts to stop free speech. They scream things about Trump being racist, these quote-unquote protesters. Protesting is fine. Shutting down highways, becoming violent, just being all-around disruptive. You have the right to your free speech until it infringes on my right to free speech. The one thing that I find funny is they're screaming, Trump is racist. Trump is KKK. Well, what exactly has Trump said that is so racist? So I've searched, and nothing has actually come up of anything that he has said racist. Now, I got an audio clip in a couple minutes, which there is two gentlemen that are with them. One's with MoveOn.org, and one is with BLM. And one of the comments he makes is, well, Donald Trump said, make America white again. Well, it actually caused, and Megyn Kelly was doing the interview, she even started a chuckle and was like, yeah, he didn't say that at all. But you'll hear that in a minute. Now, I've looked, and there's nothing racist being said by Trump. People are construing some things and twisting it to become racist, but he has not actually said anything racist. But could it be because he wants to temporarily stop immigration from the Middle East so we get a better idea of who's who and a better vetting process? Or is it because he had a comment about illegals coming in and not being the best people in the world? Well, he's not wrong there. These are people willing to break laws to get what they want. As a citizen of the United States, if I break the law, there is no excuse. But we're out to reward criminals for breaking the law. All right, let me see if I can get to that.
We're breaking tonight just 1 week after the chaos in Chicago, and we are seeing a much smaller group of protesters at Donald Trump's event as he gets ready to address supporters in Salt Lake City, Utah tonight, ahead of that state's Tuesday caucuses. Remember, last week at this hour, protesters succeeded in forcing Trump to actually shut down his event out of fears for his supporters' safety and stifling free speech in the process. Joining me now, Jamal Green, who's a community activist and one of the leaders of last week's Chicago protests, along with Traherne Cruz, who's an organizer for Black Lives Matter in St. Paul, Minnesota, and Herman Cain, who's a Fox News contributor, former presidential candidate, and author of The Right Problems, What the President, Congress, and Every Candidate Should Be Working On. Great to see you all. Mr. Cain, it's a pleasure to have you back in the program. It's been too long since I've seen you.
Thank you. I'm enjoying it. Thank you very much.
All right, let me start with you, Jamal, because you were one of the leaders of the protest in Chicago. You described it as a win when it got shut down. Why? You just heard the discussion in our first segment about how is it really...
Now watch as he backtracks on this statement about it was shutting it down, because they were saying all that they were going to shut it down, not interrupt it, shut it down.
It's a win when you shut down somebody else's First Amendment rights.
Well, you know what? We didn't shut down his First Amendment right. This man chose to not come and express his First Amendment right. He had every right to. He talked to.
See how he's trying to backtrack right there? They're catching a lot of flack over the last week or so over shutting down his event. They bragged about it for over a week now. Now they're backtracking, and now they're trying to put the blame on Trump. When, yes, maybe Trump, it was his decision. But for the safety and the issues that were going on, yeah, he did shut it down because of their actions. It wasn't, oh, geez, okay, let me just shut it down. Their actions caused that effect.
Law enforcement, even our intern superintendent said that they informed him that they had enough security and enough police to get him in and out of the building.
If they had enough security to get them in and out of the building, keywords right there, in and out of the building, but they could not, with any degree, guarantee safety of anybody there. It had turned violent. The media didn't cover that. They wanted to make it look like the protesters were protesting peacefully, and that Trump is this big violent racist guy. And I do have from New York, someone recorded some of the main protesters there and their comments and how they have been trying to keep media away from certain aspects so that it is only broadcasted, that it is peaceful, and that all the violence is hidden.
You feel it's important to show up there and do what you did because you were with a couple hundred people.
Well, you know what? We are tired of seeing him discriminate against people that are Hispanic, blacks. He is talking bad about women. So we were going there to not try to.
Again, what has he actually said against blacks or Hispanics? He's talked about Hispanics positively. He has talked about, yes, illegal immigration, but he has also pointed out, and several others have pointed out, it is not just Mexico that has illegals coming into this country. There is all sorts of different nationalities that are coming into this country illegally. And that's what both myself and him, not together, but have talked about. And they love to interpret what he says, but they don't want anybody interpreting what they say. Now, as for the blacks, what negative has he made towards the black people? He's talked about how he feels that the administration hasn't done good for the black people, that by allowing all these immigrants and illegal immigrants in here, it is hurting everybody, and it's hurting the black people with jobs, and the figures are showing it. The people out of work. And he's talked about how he wants to do change. He wants to try to do things that will help black people, how to get jobs for everybody. How is that racist? I have never heard a single word uttered, a single racist word uttered.
Shut down his freedom of speech, but to actually tell him, listen, this is not the type of character of a man that is supposed to be running for president.
And the type of character that you are, sir, you're lying, you're twisting, and you've been out to stop people's freedom of speech. You have been out there spreading lies. So your character is not someone that should be leading a group that's going to spread lies. Oh, I'm going to go back to the audio.
What specifically has he done with respect to blacks and immigrants that you object to?
Well, you know what? He made comments when he first announced he was running for president, saying that Hispanics are bringing in rapists and killers and drug dealers. That is what we do not like. We do not like people that is going to say, "Oh, women are call women fat slobs." He even called you a bimbo on Twitter last year. This is a man that.
And Megan is a grown woman. She can handle it herself. She does not need others coming to her rescue. She wants to be an equal. She wants to do her job as an equal. Well, sometimes you're going to have differences and things are going to happen. Do I agree it should have happened? No. But it doesn't mean the man is evil, as they're portraying. She is a grown woman. It is called equal rights nowadays. So sick of that. He's being a male chauvinist pig by, oh, you can't handle it. You need me to protect you.
It disrespects everyone. He disrespects presidential candidates.
And again, she asked for specifics, and he gives generalizations.
Marco Rubio, Little Marco, Ted Cruz, Lion Ted. He called.
And Little Marco made even worse comments about Trump. He was talking about his body parts being too small. Oh, we'll forget about that. Well, forget about all the false accusations and the lying that Cruz has done for him to make that statement. If that is his biggest bitch, man, just give it up, because that is nothing to be bitching about.
Senator Sanders, a liar, and he just
God, he called him a liar.
He is just not great.
And Cruz has called Trump a liar. If you want, I can go through the research and all the other candidates, all the negative things they've said about Trump. They say that about each other. That's politics.
Not great. We will not stand for
your thoughts on that point, right? And then we'll get to this.
They won't stand for that in Chicago, but they'll deal with the black on black. They'll allow that to happen, all the violence that goes on there. Those in glass houses should not throw stones. This isn't because they're black. It is because Chicago has a high rate of violence. And they're going to tell the rest of the world and the rest of the cities and people how to live their lives when their own lives are a mess. My father used to tell me as a kid, you think of your life like a little placemat in front of you. When you go to a diner, you get that little placemat. You got that little square. Now, that is your life. When your life is perfect, then you can start going and saying stuff about other people's lives. Until then, you worry about your own little placemat. Chicago has no place to be talking about etiquette or how someone should act.
The propriety of shutting down a rally. But your thoughts on Jamal's last point there?
Jamal and Mr. Vargas, your previous guest, are part of the political noise machine. They pick on the sound bites that some people are trying to project as perception of Donald Trump, and it's totally inaccurate and unfair. So he's gone off on a statement here and an isolated statement here. And when he says he offended all Mexicans or illegals, no, he said the bad people. He is not a racist. And in case Mr. Jamal and Mr. Vargas haven't looked up the definition, go look up the definition. Donald Trump does not satisfy the definition of a racist or any of these other things that they're putting out there. They are in denial that Donald Trump is someone who will be forceful in doing the things that are right for all Americans. Free speech is not a license for them to conduct the disruption that they are basically perpetuating on some of these events. That's a big difference.
Trey, hearing your thoughts on it, on what Herman Cain just said, that he made a comment and that the events have been isolated, and in his view, Donald Trump is no racist.
I disagree with Mr. Cain respectfully. Also, I'm from the organization Black St. Paul, and in St. Paul, Minnesota, the city council almost voted to ban Donald Trump from coming to the city because of
actually they can't do that.
He has been saying, but I disagree. I'm not going to say whether Donald Trump is racist or not, but he's saying racist things. So when he says things like "Let's make America white again," that sounds like a racist.
Let's make America white again. At no time has Trump ever said those words. At no time has that been uttered by his campaign. It has been uttered by Cruz, Rubio, liberals, Black Lives Matter, MoveOn.org. Those are the ones that come up with that, not Trump.
It's a statement, and as a
When did he say that?
as a black man, I can't
didn't say
He didn't say, let's make America white again.
White again.
No, he didn't. He did not
I've
say
never
that.
heard that statement, Megan.
No, I've never heard that either. That sounds like maybe something a supporter or somebody on Twitter, but Donald Trump has never said that. That would have been big news.
Now remember, Megan and Trump have been going at it for months now, going back and forth. So I got to give her credit. She's actually standing up and going, well, time out here. No, never said that. She has a beef with him. And that's fine. I'm not getting in the middle of that. That's between those two. The only thing I'm not going to do is sit there and, well, we need to stick up for Megan because she's a woman. They want equal what? Rights. He hasn't said anything that's been derogatory in my comments. But I'm going to give her credit and I give credit where credit's due. She's standing up and saying, no, that's never been uttered by anyone other than liberals.
I mean, part of the problem, Kate, is that well, he can't help even if they did endorse him, he can't help who endorses him. I mean, a lot of freaks out there wind up endorsing him, and I was like, what are you going to do about it? He did eventually disavow the KKK. He stumbled on it for a day or two before he did.
Can I say something?
I hate that he stumbled on a day or two. He disavowed David Duke within 2 hours of him making the comment. And David Duke came out and said, I am not supporting Trump. I do not throw my support behind Trump. I just think people should vote for him.
What he is saying is exactly what they use to try to get people incited to believe that he's a racist. Donald Trump didn't say that. Donald Trump is not endorsing the KKK. Donald Trump has not said a lot of the things that the political noise machine, like your guest and the previous guests, are saying about Donald Trump. The problem I have is misrepresenting what the man said for their objective. And their objective is destruction and intimidation.
What about that? I mean, if you misrepresent the record, it undermines your whole argument.
Exactly. And they are all about.
That's for Trey Hearn.
They are all about intimidation.
Let me just get you sorry, I want to get Trey Hearn the floor. Go ahead, Trey Hearn.
What does the Ku Klux Klan see in Donald Trump where they say we'll put our endorsement behind you? What does David Duke see in Donald Trump that makes them want to endorse him?
May I answer that? Maybe they see jobs. Maybe they see a strong economy. Maybe they see a strong military. Long as Donald Trump didn't endorse them and their principles, that's not the big sin. You are using that to incite black people, Hispanic people, and non-white people to portray him as a racist. And that's what you're doing. You're not respecting his free speech.
Just before I let go, Trey Hearn, I know that you were the person who organized that one rally we saw, that protest against police, where the people started chanting, pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. And you know that's going to have many people out there tonight saying, why should we listen to this guy on matters of race and decorum? I want to give you the chance to answer.
Well, you guys, I didn't say fry anybody.
Oh, so it's different when it's done to him. He was the one that organized that, was the leader of it, and that's what they were chanting. But, oh, no, I have no control over that. But, he's going to label Trump as part of the KKK just because some of them may have endorsed him. He has no control over that, just as he did not have control over what the people were saying. But he doesn't want to be labeled that way, and I do like how Megan has turned it around on him, and I will give credit to Megan for doing that. All right. This is going to be my first break of the day. And I do apologize at the beginning of the show. We did have so many technical issues. And I think those things hopefully have been resolved. But that's what happens when you have a live broadcast.
Like bacon. I didn't start that check.
Just remember, you're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense, trying to make sense out of the senseless right here on hbpundit.com and shrmedia.com. We'll be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
You have been listening to Reaver Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver Common Sense Show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and hyphensdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying Captain Stupid, bro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Saka as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it is the Reaver After Dark, hosted by Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe, and Jersey Crash, right here on shrmedia.com and hyphensdailynews.com.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss any of the Reaver Common Sense or Reaver After Dark show,
I don't want to be me. I don't want to be me anymore.
just go to Reaver.one. While you're there, click the like button so you can keep up with everything Reaver. Now, back to the show.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, making sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover is here. We have it expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to join the live chat, go to shrmedia.com, click on the chat room button, join the conversation. If you want to watch a live broadcast, go to Reaver.one, click on the live stream or live show. One of those two. And then I have the big announcement I was going to give earlier, but I totally got sidetracked. I now have my own t-shirts, and I have hoodies and coffee mugs. So go to Reaver.one, click on the store button, I think it is. Reaver store. Sorry. I finished it up like 3 o'clock this morning. So get your shirts while they're there. Get a hoodie. All right. I find it funny that both the Democrats and the Republicans are sounding exactly the fucking same anymore. And yes, that does include Cruz. He is spewing the same bullshit lies that the establishment is spewing. He is so anti-establishment, he says the same thing that the establishment says. He says the same things Democrats do. Oh, wait, it must be because he responded to a question and said if the establishment takes the election away from whoever is leading the polls, will be pissed and may riot. He was not calling. Sorry, I got kind of jumped on track. They're trying to now say that all these problems are Trump's fault. The riots are his fault. He's called for violence. All this other bull crap. Number one, beginning of all his rallies, he sits there and he tells the people that violence is not condoned and will not be tolerated, whether it's from his supporters or anybody. End of story. Democrats are going there purposely to cause problem and start shit. The old expression, you don't start shit, there won't be no shit. They're going there to start problems. They're going there, they're blocking highways. That is not a protest. Blocking a highway is not a protest. Chaining yourself to a vehicle while you're on the highway is not a protest. In Chicago, they were blocking ambulances that were responding to emergency calls. This has gotten out of hand. They are purposely causing issues to try to make certain candidates look bad. And if Cruz and the establishment think it's funny now, fine. Trump doesn't get the nominations. Do you think they're not going to come do it to you next? You're sitting there laughing, and next thing you know, you're going to be going, oh, shit. Blaming Trump for riots that are going on and issues because he was asked a simple question. And he said that's what he thought might happen or could happen. He didn't call for it. When you got to twist words like that, I think the candidate's on the way of something. Cruz, the establishment, Democrats, Republicans, they're all doing a good enough job to make these riots happen. Cruz is not saying anything to stop them. All he's doing is giving them fuel by blaming Trump for him. He is giving credence to these rioters. When they sit there and they blame somebody else for their actions, it is adding fuel and giving them credence to keep on doing what they're doing. The supposed anti-establishment candidates have been twisting the truth for a while now. Cruz has been caught time and time again in lying. But the problem is, once you put out those lies, they're out there. You can't bring them back because there'll always be a small amount of doubt. And Cruz is a lawyer. He is a trained liar. He is a trained liar. He is trained to put doubt in people's mind, and that is what he's doing. I know the Cruz supporters are going, no, you're stupid and no, you're educated. I'm educated enough though I could see what's going on. I was supporting Cruz. I saw what was going on. I was looking objectively. Those on the outside are seeing things a hell of a lot different than these Cruz supporters are from the inside. When we talk about the riot and Cruz and his supporters sounding more like Democrats blaming rioters and protesting on Trump, was it Trump who made these same people riot and protest in Ferguson and Baltimore? To have Republicans blaming Trump for Democrats' actions are dangerous. And remember, whoever gets the nomination, remember, you will be stuck with these protesters. Remember, the Democrats have written the playbook of pin the races on the Republican candidate. The difference between Cruz and Trump. Cruz is a typical politician, whether anti-establishment or establishment. As soon as Hillary starts attacking him, he will apologize and back off. Trump will stand up. Trump will return fire. Trump will attack back. The only thing Cruz has done is hid behind Trump and pointed his finger. I got thinking again, and they're constantly bringing up we need a Reagan. Now, I am not saying Trump is Reagan. But you always talk about Reagan, and you hold him up to this high standard. You hold him up to a high standard. But you don't remember the GOP said Reagan would destroy the party. Everybody forgot about that. Many people really forgot what really happened with Reagan and the GOP. Did anybody remember? Here. Reagan during with a moderator, getting in an argument, because everybody said no president got all mad and yells and does this and does that. Oh, that makes Trump unworthy.
If the other hand makes the lead, they don't. The fireworks begin. As we may have the first question, one question, you asked me if you could make an announcement. I asked you to make an announcement. For the song, man, please turn Mr. Reagan's mic off.
So there's a dispute between the moderator and Reagan. The moderator's trying to skip over Reagan on something, and Reagan said, you asked if you could give an announcement, and then it would come back to me. Now the guy wants to just totally walk all over Reagan and ignore him, just as the GOP was doing. They did not want Reagan. Sounds like the crowd is pretty agitated and screaming and yelling and not exactly in a cheerful mood there.
Mr. Green, you turn over your eyes for me if you I paid for this microphone.
Oh my God. Reagan was yelling that he paid for this microphone. I'm going to back it up a little bit.
Turn over your eyes for me if you I paid for this microphone.
Seems the crowd was eating up Reagan yelling at the moderator. Reagan yelling in anger at the moderator. Everybody forgets about that. Everybody wants to play Reagan was this great guy, and he was a great president. And how was he a great president? By several ways. For number one, he had no problem standing up to people. He had no problem standing up and saying what he thought. He stood for what he believed in. By the way, he was a Democrat, a card-carrying Democrat. He changed. I was a Democrat at one point. I changed. I'm getting tired of hearing all these bullshits over and over again about Trump. I'm tired of hearing, well, presidential candidates don't do this and they don't do that. And it's the same thing that Reagan did. We had the same argument when Reagan ran. The GOP did not want him. They said he would destroy the GOP. He would destroy the GOP. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Because that's all I'm hearing. how he would destroy the GOP. People forgot and have given way to the myth of Ronald Reagan. I'm not taking anything away from Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was a great president. But with anything in life, as time passes, truth gives way to perception. Perception gives way to myths. People have forgotten what happened. They're only remembering the greatness Reagan did. They don't remember the fight, how the GOP did not want him, how the GOP tried to do everything they could to take it from him. How Reagan lost in a contested convention and then went to Gerald Ford, who lost. Everybody forgets about that. And everybody wants to point all the negatives about Trump. Trump's not Reagan. And I don't want him to be Reagan. I want Trump to be Trump. But the same thing that was going on back in the 1980s is going on now in the year 2016. And what really, really makes me laugh, yes, Trump is using the motto of make America great again. That's been used multiple times by multiple presidents, and I love when Democrats, what does that even mean? There's been Democrat presidents have used that slogan. Reagan used that slogan. But what I find funny is, what's I find funny is Cruz's motto. I will stop Trump from getting the nomination. That's his motto. That's what he's out to do now. That's what Kasich's out to do. They're not out to win the election. They're not out to make America better. They're out to stop Trump from being the nominee because the GOP says that Trump will destroy the GOP. Just like the GOP said Reagan would destroy the GOP. Now he's going down as one of the greatest Republican presidents. Again, I am not saying Trump is Reagan. I would never do that. I don't want him to be another Reagan. I want Trump to be Trump because Reagan probably would not make it as president with what's going on. He was perfect for that time. He was perfect for that time. We have a different way of doing things, a different society, and different problems. That calls for a different type of person. If you want to support Cruz, go right ahead. If you want to support Kasich, go right ahead. That's your constitutional right. I'll disagree on Bernie and Hillary. I think if you support Hillary, you really need a mental checkup from the neck up. But it is your right. The ones that have damaged the GOP are not Trump. And everybody loves to play pile on Trump. But everybody forgets the facts. And they love to twist them. You're listening to The Reaver of Common Sense right here on hppundit.com and shrmedia.com. We'll be right back.
Consumer media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
You have been listening to Reaver of Common Sense hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver Common Sense Show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and hyphensdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business? You didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying capitalist.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Socko as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking, drinking, drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it is the Reaver After Dark, hosted by Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe, and Jersey Crash, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milton. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you missed any of the Reaver Common Sense or Reaver After Dark show, just go to Reaver.one. While you're there, click the like button so you can keep up with everything Reaver. Now, back to the show.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm making sense out of this senseless. Remember, Jersey Takeover is here. We have it expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember to join the live chat. Go to shrmedia.com, click on the chat room button. Join the conversation. If you want to watch a live stream, go to Reaver.one, click on the live show button. There you go. And lastly, you want to support the show? Perfect. I got t-shirts now available. Go to Reaver, hit the live Reaver store. You can get a hoodie or a coffee mug. Show your support. Show you're proud of being a Reaver. So, it's just, came across this article that kind of went on that whole rant that I did for those two segments is, and it goes on that Ronald Reagan would be familiar with some of the challenges facing Donald lately. Imagine an establishment busting presidential candidate rolling up the primaries, but polling 20 points behind the presumptive Democrat nominee. The controversial Republican frontrunner is considered so radical that the party establishment eyes a brokered convention. Perhaps to nominate a failed candidate from the previous election. Sound familiar? Welcome to March 1980. Ronald Reagan was polling 20 points behind the assumed Democrat nominee. Donald Trump is not even running that far behind Hillary. Some polls he's beaten her, some polls he's behind, but it's usually 2-3%. This is the exact same scenario that happened in March of 1980. We're seeing played out again. In retrospect, Ronald Reagan's presidency seemed inevitable, but the prevailing wisdom in the Republican Party 36 years ago was that he was leading the party to certain defeat. Going into the 1980s race, some Republican leaders thought Reagan was too old, too conservative, or too provocative to win the nomination, but the Gipper was clearly popular with the party's grassroots. Reagan split some early contests with George H.W. Bush, winning New Hampshire and Vermont, but losing Iowa and Massachusetts. Then he ran up a string of 5 victories in the South and Midwest that gave him a commanding delegate lead. By this stage of the game in 1980, it looked like Reagan was unbeatable. The GOP establishment was in a meltdown over Reagan's surge. Comparative moderate candidates like Howard Baker, John Connolly, Bob Dole, Phil Crane dropped out. Sorry about the Bob Dole thing. If anybody has ever watched Family Guy, you might understand that one. Liberal Republican Congressman John Anderson of Illinois was hanging on, classic-like, having almost won in Massachusetts and showing strong second-place finish in Illinois and Vermont. Anderson became something of a press darling and eventually ran as a third-party challenger, another anti-Trump scenario being discussed these days, netting 6.6 of the popular vote. But the electable question continued to dog Reagan. A series of opinion polls supported the notion that they simply could not win in November. A Gallup poll from the first week of March showed him losing to Jimmy Carter by 23 points, 57 to 34%. Does that sound familiar? I could have taken Ronald Reagan's name out of there. Ronald Reagan's name out of that. I could have placed Cruz, Kasich, and Donald Trump in there. And it would still ring true to what's going on today. Time showed Reagan losing by 18 and 19 points respectively. Compare those numbers to the latest NBC News Wall Street Journal poll showing Hillary Clinton leading Donald Trump by 13 points. Los Angeles Times poll director declared that Trump is the opponent of choice for Reagan. Oh my God, I'm getting it tongue twisted between the two. The only bright spot for the GOP was a hypothetical race between Carter and Gerald Ford in the CBS New York Times poll, in which the former president had a 5-point lead. Gerald Ford had offered his opinion that Reagan was too conservative to win a general election, and speculation was rampant that Ford was going to jump into the race. Commentators began talking about stopping Reagan at brokered convention and elevating Ford, just as some have suggested anointing Mitt Romney as the upcoming Cleveland convention. Reagan believed that the former president was inclined to run, if not to win outright. If not to win outright, then to act as a spoiler at the convention. Does any of this sound familiar? I'm serious. Does any of this sound familiar? I wouldn't be surprised if the strategy is getting to the convention with no one having enough delegates for a victory and having a brokered convention, Ronald Reagan stated. Meanwhile, Jimmy Carter was facing a determined challenge from a liberal Senator Ted Cruz, though doing much more better than Hillary Clinton is against Senator Bernie Sanders. By March 18th, Carter had limited Kennedy to one win in his home state of Massachusetts. But Carter did not have the nomination in the bag yet. Kennedy would win 5 of the 8 upcoming contests through the end of April, including upsets in New York, Pennsylvania. Kennedy hung on until the Democrat convention in August, fighting, though failing, to free Carter's delegates from their commitment to the president. If Mrs. Clinton rolls into the Philadelphia convention under the cloud of indictment of espionage and political corruption, the Sanders team might want to revisit 1980 as well. We know how the story ends. Carter was dragged down by a sagging economy and the Iran hostage crisis. By June, Reagan had closed the polling gap. Ford never entered the race, though some wild ideas were discussed at the Detroit convention where Ford was floated as a potential running mate and co-president with Reagan. In the end, the Gipper went with the second-place finisher, Bush, in the interest of party unity. And Reagan beat Carter by 10 points in November, winning the electoral vote by a landslide. By then, no one remembered the party's establishment panicky days in March when Reagan and probably nomination suddenly became inevitable. Or when every national poll showed Carter trouncing Reagan by substantial margins. With a crazy scheme being dreamed up to derail the candidate who had won the support of the majority of the party faithful. And the flawed belief that victory in November was impossible. Yes, Mr. Reagan would find this very, very, very familiar indeed. People have a habit of forgetting history. People have a habit of falling to myths. Times are different, yes. A lot of things are different. But it seems that some people have chosen to forget certain parts of Reagan's rise to greatness. The fact that the GOP did not want him it just shows me that the GOP elite, establishment, whatever term you want to give them, is not the end-all, be-all, the know-all. They do not serve the best interests of the party all the time. They're looking out for what's best for them. Just as Glenn Beck is a hypocrite. He is a hypocrite to the word go. He has called out other news websites and bashed him for supporting Donald Trump, as he's got his head so far up Trump's ass, it's not funny. He is running around telling people in Oregon that he is the next, he is the reborn, or some shit like that, for the Mormon faith. I cannot believe he has talked so much crap like that. I'm sorry, but Cruz is not the next coming of Christ. I'm not knocking anybody's religion. But Glenn Beck is changing facts and trying to hold Cruz up on a religious pedestal. Glenn Beck also thinks he's some kind of psychologist or psychiatric. He's a psycho, all right. He penned a very hypocritical open letter to Donald Trump. Now, I'm not going to go over the whole letter because it is a joke. Donald Trump's latest comments on Fox News channel's Megyn Kelly have generated backlash from many conservative pundits. And now Glenn Beck has continued his obsession with Trump. And yes, Glenn has a obsession. And he goes on to write, you see, Don, I know who you are because I've seen your type before. Beck went on to say during his radio show this past Friday, verbal abuse is just as bad as physical abuse, but men like those who abuse the women in my family were smarter, like you, than the men who used to beat my mother. Words most think don't leave marks, but maybe you don't care because you deliver your beatings in broad daylight in full view, daring us to stop you. We don't because our country is sick. Well, the exact same thing can be said about this fucking douchebag. And I'm really getting sick of seeing his name all the time anymore. He is bringing down Cruz. He is one of the reasons I stopped supporting Cruz, because a scumbag like Glenn Beck. You see, I've seen his type before, too. I've seen his type as he rides on the coattail of Ted Cruz to try to get his career back where he lost it. But the more he tries, the more he is looking like he's lost his mind. His obsession with Trump is sickening, to say the least. His nonstop attacks on Trump and preaching of Cruz borders on delusional. Look up the latest comments that he has spewed about Cruz out in Utah. He has attacked Trump for everything. He has accused Trump of vile acts. I mean, I've listened to this man, Beck, and he talks about Trump nonstop. Has said vile and disgusting comments about Trump supporters. When has Trump attacked Cruz supporters? Never. But it seems like he is jealous of Trump and upset because Trump does not give in to Beck's vile comments. Trump is willing to stand up and say what he thinks. So if standing up and saying what you think is being verbally abusive, then I'm guilty also. Beck does not like Trump. Could it be because Trump is beating the shit out of Beck's golden boy, Cruz? And he writes these supposed editorials as if another delusion he has, he thinks he's a psychiatrist. He is jealous of the man and is trying to justify his attack on Trump. He's doing nothing but a mouthpiece for Cruz and doing some of the dirty work for Cruz. I have seen Cruz supporters saying that they're getting sick and tired of Beck in his mouth, that they're ready to pull their support from Cruz. Cruz should separate himself. But he allows this man to spew his vile, disgusting comments nonstop. And I'm getting tired of people running to Miss Kelly like she is some fragile princess that needs saving. Mr. Beck, you are not a knight in shining armor. Miss Kelly has gone out of her way to attack Trump. This whole screams sexism from Beck. If Miss Kelly can't handle it, she don't need Beck running to her rescue. Beck, you are not a psychiatrist. You are not a superhero. And in my mind, you're nothing more than a mouthpiece for Cruz to spew crap and lies. You are nothing more than a jock supporter running behind Cruz. Barely worth my time. Most people find you a sick, disgusting side joke. You are the type of person that pushes people away from religion and away from the Republican Party. In other words, you, Beck, you are what is wrong with religion. You are exactly what is wrong with the Republican Party. you push more people away from Cruz and towards Trump, you're exactly what is wrong with Cruz's campaign. And to quote you, Beck, we don't because our country is sick. Yes, it is. You are the plague that is slowly killing this nation. And lastly, to quote what you've said to Trump, will we really vote for you, a man who abuses anyone who doesn't kiss your ring? Well, at least Trump has not said about Cruz supporters, those who have not kissed your ring, repeatedly comparing Trump supporters to Nazi brown shirts. Vile, rude, vile, and nasty is how you describe Trump supporters. They're fat, they're pigs, they're losers, they are crybabies, whatever they are. Trump supporters do not kiss your ass back, so you insult them, you belittle them just like a liberal would. You are beneath all of us. The one who is having an issue is you, Glenn Beck. He is the one acting out. I am tired of that man. He gives religion and the Republican Party black eyes, and he makes us look like sick, depraved, disgusting. And the man absolutely disgusts me. I've never once heard Trump attack Cruz supporters. But it seems Beck repeatedly wants to compare Trump supporters to Nazi brown shirts. He has called them rude, vile, and nasty. They're fat, they're pigs, they're losers. And Cruz allows it. He does not distance himself from it. He does not denounce it. Why hasn't anybody gone after Cruz for those comments? They will go after Trump because some person says that he's throwing his support behind Trump. Well, Mr. Beck, you can go fuck off. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on hppundit.com and shrmedia.com. We'll be right after this break. Be right back after this break.
Consider media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
You have been listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and hyphensdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. You didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying Catholics do it, bro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Saka as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific, on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it is the Reaver After Dark, hosted by Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe, and Jersey Crash, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you missed any of the Reaver Common Sense or Reaver After Dark show,
I don't want to be anymore.
just go to Reaver.one. While you're there, click the like button so you can keep up with everything Reaver. Now, back to the show.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I'm your host, Jersey Joe. The Jersey Takeover has expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to join the conversation, go to shrmedia.com, click on the chat room button, join the conversation. If you want to watch a live stream, go to Reaver.one, click on the live show button. Well, if you want to show your support for the show now, I now have t-shirts, hoodies, and coffee mugs. Again, go to Reaver.one, click on the Reaver store. It'll take you there. Become a Reaver. Oh, I'm sick of Beck. But what I find funny is he's now calling for him and his newspaper and writers, if you want to call them a newspaper. Hey, what's up, Dave? Glad to have you on board. Well, Mr. Beck and his The Blaze and a couple others are now compiling no Reaver condoms yet, no Reaver adult diapers yet. Not yet, keyword. Or what's that? They're compiling a blacklist of Trump supporters. And they're going to kick them out of the movement, never to return. They don't want us coming back to the GOP. I didn't know we left. But according to this group, there's a blacklist being done. And the Drudge, Ann Coulter, Hannity, Carson, Brett Breitbart, O'Reilly, Chris Christie, they're all... they're all getting put on this blacklist. And there's a really, really long list. I might go over and see what kind of time we have. But several conservative talking heads and beltway consultant types have been very angry about the rise of businessman Trump, who is pushing for American sovereignty, a reversal of neoconservative foreign policy and compatibility for pharmaceuticals, even though the drug companies that fund the Republican Party would take a financial hit. So far, anti-Trump think pieces referencing William F. Buckley have been ineffective. Men's comparing Trump to Hitler haven't worked. So these Republicans are getting more Nixian. They're coming out with the enemy list. Dun, dun, dun. CNN contributor and former Senator Ted Cruz spokeswoman Amanda Carpenter volunteered to take the lead in writing the list. But Carpenter, who once got called an idiot by Donald Trump, did not mention that she formally defended Trump on numerous occasions. Luckily, savvy Twitter users pointed it out for her in response to her tweet. She has later explained the terms for inclusion on her blacklist. Carpenter is not alone in calling for a blacklist. Red State contributor editor Ben Howell said that he has the resources to get a high-tech blacklist off the ground, as well as seed money from God knows who in the donor class. Others in the conservative media industry have called for no forgiveness for Trump enablers and have warned that the conservative movement will never forget. Matt Walsh compiled a preliminary list over at The Blaze. Walsh's list: Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Bill O'Reilly, Laura Ingraham, Sarah Palin, Fox News, Chris Christie, Ben Carson, Senator Jeff Sessions, The Drudge Report, Breitbart, Jerry Falwell, and Jeffries. But what exactly are they banning Trump supporters from? As Walsh noted, Jeff Sessions, Sarah Palin, and Ben Carson have all endorsed Trump. Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity are sympathetic voices in the media. Herman Cain likes him. Phyllis Schifley loves him. Newt Gingrich has confirmed here on the page of Breitbart that Trump is a member of the very same conservative movement that he, Gingrich, led in the 1990s and still has considerable influence over. Oh, yeah, and Trump won the South Carolina primary and is leading the field right now in delegates. Why not a blacklist for conservatives who sold out the movement in their own country by embracing amnesty and the doctrine of open borders? Why not a blacklist for those who wrecked the new American century within 3 years by staging $1 trillion national building experiment in the Middle East? Why not a blacklist for those countries trying to broker the convention to throw out the will of the people? Or those who would rather support Hillary Clinton because at least they'll still be able to gin up donations for opposing her? Are you banning the Trump supporters from the movement in which Tea Party patriots featured Trump as a headliner at the rally against the Iran deal back in September? Only to have Jenny Beth Martin come out at CPAC and tell people that he loves himself more than America and that he's not really a member of the Tea Party movement. Such is the nature of movements. They're always on the move. And the list keeps growing for Trump endorsers who are already on the blacklist, according to Carpenter's conservative review piece, blackballing those who endorse Trump. Well, you better understand, as of right now, the most people are behind Trump. You want to throw us out, you will not have a party. And as I talked about earlier, this is the same rhetoric that came out during the 1980s. This is the same rhetoric they said about Reagan. Now, again, I am not comparing and saying Trump is Reagan. What I'm comparing is the GOP's reaction to Reagan and the GOP's reaction to Trump are identical. They were talking how they wanted a broker convention in the 1980s, how he would destroy the GOP movement, how he couldn't win against Jimmy Carter, how the polls were showing that he was 20 to 30% points running behind Carter. But yet these people want to create a blacklist and they don't want us back. That's fine with me. I don't want to be part of something that I'm not welcome to. I'll be more than glad to take my support and go somewhere else. I know my parents feel that way. My aunt, my wife, my brothers, their wives. They have more to lose than I do. The rhetoric that they're making these threats makes them look like children that are throwing a hissy fit because they're not getting their way. The list, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. And they got so many conservatives and Republicans on this list that they are going to ban. The list is shorter of who's writing this list and backing it. They better watch out. They might get pushed out before we get pushed out. They're butting heads with some of the powerful of the Republicans. Mike Huckabee has come out and hit Eric Erickson's Soviet way plan to stop Donald Trump. Former GOP presidential candidate, Governor Mike. What do you want? The website where I got all that from, Dave? Give me 1 second. Anytime anybody wants to see the sources of what I'm talking about, I am more than glad to give them up. I actually save them. And it's all broken down by dates of the show. So it's easy for me to go back and get them. That's what I'm saying. As former GOP presidential candidate, Governor Mike Huckabee hit boggler Eric Erickson's secret plan to defeat GOP frontrunner Donald Trump as the Soviet way. The hit came after Huckabee appeared on Fox News Thursday to respond to the Erickson plan, whose goal is to defeat Donald Trump either through the primaries or at the convention in July or through a third-party candidate. Erickson later replied to Huckabee's on-air criticism, saying Mike Huckabee says that when voters make a decision, you suck it up and accept it. The former governor may not know this, but I am a voter, and my decision to oppose Donald Trump so he can suck it up and accept it. This will of the people stuff does nothing for me, as the will of the people is the very mob rule our founders worked hard to constrain. Huckabee, in a lengthy Facebook post, then hit back at Erickson. Actually, Eric, I'm very aware that you are a voter, and so am I, and I have been something you haven't been, a candidate for president, twice. I didn't get the nominations either time, and those darn voters are the reason why. It never occurred to me that since I really did think they were wrong, that I could just get some political people in a secret meeting and maybe get the nomination the Soviet way. We'll let people think they are voting, but then we'll pick me after all. Trump was certainly not my first choice. I was my first choice. I went from a nice income to zero income, gave a year of my life, asked great sacrifices on the part of my donors, staff, volunteers, and gave it all I had and then some. And the voters chose differently. I could blame the media for giving me virtually no attention and giving it all to Trump. I could blame the people who promised their support and urged me to get in the race, but who then disappeared into the camps of others because they saw better paychecks, better rewards, and maybe really thought they saw a better candidate. But in the end, my fate was decided by the voters. The old Democrat political jokester Dick Tuck, who bedeviled Richard Nixon with some of the greatest political pranks of all time, eventually decided to run himself for a California state Senate seat in 1966. He finished third in a field of 8, and as the results came in, he uttered one of the most political lines of all time. And forgive the verbatim language, the people have spoken, the bastards. Dick Tuck said it for humor. Today we have GOP established type who are saying it because they mean it. We have elections not because the people get it right all the time. They don't. But they have the right to make a mistake. I think they made one by not nominating me. They sure made one electing Barack Obama and would make a bigger one electing Hillary. But our system was designed to ultimately keep the power away from oligarchy and let every citizen participate in selecting their leaders. Don't like Trump, don't like Cruz, don't like Kasich, vote differently, or don't vote. But sorry, no matter who you are, you only get one vote. And I agree with it wholeheartedly. It's people are crying because they're not getting their way. People are crying because their candidate didn't win. People are crying and carrying on because they're losing. That is what's going on. This is not all this Trump problem. It's because they're throwing hissy fits. Said it before, and I'm really starting to wonder these supposed Cruz supporters, the ones that do the attacking as they do and act like liberals. They're starting to remind me of the Rand Paul supporters. And when Rand Paul dropped out, I wonder if they ran to Cruz and now acting out like little children. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on hppundit.com and shrmedia.com. Don't forget, go to Reaver.one, click on the Reaver store, get yourself a shirt, a hoodie, or even a coffee mug. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
You have been listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and HighlandsDailyNews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying capitalist today, bro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sako as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it is the Reaver After Dark, hosted by Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe, and Jersey Crash, right here on shrmedia.com and HighlandsDailyNews.com.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you missed any of the Reaver of Common Sense or Reaver After Dark show, just go to Reaver.one. While you're there, click the like button so you can keep up with everything Reaver. Now, back to the show.
listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, trying to make sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover is here. We have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to be part of the show, you can go to shrmedia.com, click on the chat room button, and join the conversation. If you want to watch a live stream, you can go to Reaver.one, click on the live stream. If you want to show your support for the show, go to Reaver.one, click on the Reaver store, pick yourself up a t-shirt, a hoodie, or even a coffee mug. Today's show actually flew by. I know I had like about 15, 20 minutes missing from the show, but it just flew by. I mean, it flew by faster than I thought it would. Now, the RNC has come out and condemned Bill Kristol, anti-Trump third party, as helping to elect Hillary Clinton. There's been a lot of pieces on it lately, a lot of talk about it. The RNC has come out and condemned it. The RNC is throwing cold water on pundit Bill Kristol's efforts to form a third party to challenge Donald Trump in the general election. And again, what happened in the 1980s? Someone that was losing wanted to do a third party. Bill Kristol, son of Irving, is trying to get retired Senator Tom Coburn or retired Texas Governor Rick Perry to run independently if the GOP establishment can't figure out how to broker the convention in Cleveland to deny Trump the nomination. The RNC spokesman Sean Spicer told Breitbart News that any effort to facilitate a third party ultimately is helping to elect Hillary Clinton. The Republican Party must unite to take back the White House, Spicer said. Kristol has been touting his potential third party on Twitter. And some of the names he's come up with. I thought I grabbed it, but I don't see it. Let me take a look at this. They're literally talking about doing a third party, creating not just an independent, creating a new party. And it's a childish, they're not getting their way. And also, Newt Gingrich even has called it a childish nonsense. It is ridiculous. So basically, back before any of these problems started, going back several, I think before even the primary started, I said on my show, I know I've said it in the chat room with the sackheads, that I do believe this country needs 3 or 4 parties to straighten out the problems we're having in this country with the type of politicians. I know that trying to get that is not an easy task. It might be a Hercules task to come about. I am not against multiple parties. That doesn't mean that if my candidate doesn't get nominating, well, it depends on how it goes down. If he loses to Ted Cruz straight out, I have no problem with that. I will back Cruz. If the GOP plays games, I can't guarantee that I'm going to back whoever the nominee is. I am tired of the bullshit that's going on of late. I'm tired of this childish, snobbish bullshit out of these supposed elitists. I do believe, as I said, that we need to come up with 3, 4 parties. Now is not the time. It should have been done months ago or after the election. A new party needs to be created. The problem is the ones that are wanting to create the new party, are the ones that have hurt and sent the GOP down the rabbit hole. So I'm not going to be following those people. So if it means staying with the GOP for right now and a restructuring, a rebuilding process, I have no problem with that. But the elitists that we have right now, the establishment, the ones that are threatening third party, fine, go. Because as of right now, you do not look like you're the majority. And I'm sick of it. I got behind on one thing, and I wanted to play a clip. Doesn't have to deal with this, but I'm glad the RNC finally spoke out. And my local, the Hillsborough County Republican Party, has spoken out about this and the attacks that go on. They have condoned the attacks of supporters making personal attacks against each other. They've spoken out against this third party stuff, and they're trying to spread the message of unity. But in New York this past weekend, we had those anti-Trump rallies, and caught on tape were a couple of these so-called spur-of-the-moment protesters, when in fact they're finding out these are professional protesters. Well, they were speaking about what's going on and how they've deceived and covered up the violence that's going on from the media.
I mean, but you're the only reason I'm still around is because, like, the whole spokesperson thing, but, like, I'm really on the side. Yeah, no, I mean, once we get to that corner, I'm done. This one right here? Yeah, this one right here. Yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, everybody from the Cosmos should just be out now. Like, I mean, really. Protest is done. There's a few troublemakers, and there's going to be, and we don't want that to be the story. Yeah, I think we should. I agree. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I didn't show that. All right. You good? What? Are you right? Take this. No. Yeah, I just. I mean, I'm gonna think. It's great. It's great. I just, couch it. The story on CNN is great. It was a great event, and people paid Donald Trump. Yeah. There was no violence, and that's it. And
so right there, they're talking about it, how CNN's headlines would be, there's no violence. It's just people hate Trump. When in reality,
the story. The rest of the story. Oh, yeah, they took back. The only thing they're here. The only thing they know is violence. You should have seen how we were like CNN people when there's an arrest across the street. They're like, oh, it's going like that was the CNN. Maybe there's another one.
Are you going to follow them? What are you doing? Are you going to play soccer?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to sort of follow behind. I'm trying to. I think,
you have to legally observe, man.
Well, I'm not really. So, hey, I want to talk to you for 2 minutes. The video is amazing.
That one's not going out. Fucking boy. That one's not going out. That's why I put it out there. It's for you to watch whatever. I'll show you so yeah, I'm going to Jamaica next week, Wednesday, and I'm doing Jamaica, Costa Rica, and the social context of football within the country. And then we're doing Cosmos Home Opener, and we're doing Cosmos Home Opener. Yeah. And we're doing.
They made it on the other side.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
You got it. So wait, where are they right now? They seem like they just left. Should we catch up? This is good though, because actually we made the coffee stop here.
They made the cops stop there. Now, these are people that are being shuffled around to different areas to help with different issues, if you want to call it help. And Cosmo seems to be one of them that is help financing their little endeavors. This has been speculated and proven in several cases where George Soros just had a fundraiser to support, raise money to pay for these protesters. These protesters are being paid for. They are not. And whenever they get stopped by the media and asked, why are you here? They all, I don't know. There was a girl chained herself to her vehicle while it was on the highway. And the media asked her why she was there. And she said she could not answer it. When the reporter turned around and said, is it because you don't like Trump? Yeah, that's it. I don't like Trump. And could not give a reason. These people are being told where to go and what to do, and they're being paid for it. It is not protest. It is their job now. They're professional protesters. Well, we're getting towards the end of the show, and I want to thank everybody for listening. Remember, go to Reaver.one. That's Reaver.one. Show your support for the show. Pick yourself up a T-shirt, a hoodie, a mug. And with that, where is it? Have a great day. You've been listening to the Reaver Common Sense with its host, Jersey Joe. You can tune in every day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on hbpundit.com and shrmedia.com.